talking Little League baseball, Josh.
The real thing.
Actually, we had our first real practice last night, and I had
Get up on your mic. Hey, grab the headphone.
3 or 4 of my guys out there, and the rest of the coaches. Actually, it's funner than coaching my guys.
Yeah. So me and Brad. So I had hit up Brad after, of course, we'll get into it, but their season, and I'd hit him up on Facebook, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll come on." And so then a couple weeks later, me and Laurie are going on one of our mini vacations. Since you think that all I do is take vacations.
What are your 15 vacations?
So we get on the plane. We're going from Atlanta. We're going from Shreveport to Atlanta to Miami. Mm-hmm. So we get on the plane, Shreveport, and I saw Brad getting on the plane, and I was like, man, he looks familiar, but I couldn't put 2 and 2 together. Then he ends up sitting right next to me and Laurie, and I saw he pulled out some stuff with LSUS pilots. And so I was like, oh, well, that's the coach. That's who I'd been talking to. So I was like, well, at some point I'm going to find a good time to be like, hey, I'm not stalking you, but, I do want you on the podcast type thing. Well, unluckily, the airlines are very incompetent.
Nightmare.
So first of all, let me say this. Before this even happens, I noticed, like, I have ADHD. Okay. I have a hard time. I mean, I can't sit still. I want to be going and stuff. Mm-hmm. Well, Brad's off the charts, and we haven't even talked about this, but I could just tell he was sitting in that plane. He's just like, oh man. So anyways, they get on the intercom after we circle over Atlanta airport a few times, and they're like, hey, there's a storm. We're taking you to Nashville. Brad. And I like, it's inconvenient. I already know we're going to be late. We're missing flights, all this stuff. But man, the silver lining was just watching Brad be so irritated.
Well, the real issue was, so my brother, excuse me, just moved to Kentucky, like Bowling Green, but he was in Louisville. He flew out of Louisville, and he had a major delay. They said because of weather, so they put him in the air. Said they were either going to go back or land somewhere else. And at the same time, they were doing that with us. They figured out, the weather worked out. So he was supposed to get in there 2 hours after us. We got in there 3 hours before us. Yeah. And I'm going, what are we doing then? And then they don't communicate anything to you.
Yeah. So Brad's over there being like, so we're on the runway in Nashville, to refuel, and Brad's over there. Every time the stewards come by, I was like, hey, are we at least getting some snacks? Are we gonna get extra snacks? You want to hook us up?
Time limit. The other issue was the girl next to me was flying to Atlanta for work, and she was as mad as I was. So I didn't want her feeling like, I'm going to elevate my madness. Yeah. So it looks more like me. So,
but there were people on the plane that were like, well, we'll just get off in Nashville. And so that held us up. It was crazy, dude. So anyways, that gave me the opportunity to talk to Brad about coming on the podcast.
So it all worked out.
It all worked out.
What an elaborate way to get somebody to come on the podcast.
I wasn't trying to ignore anybody. I mean, don't take this the wrong way. I had so many of them that I don't get on Facebook Messenger much. Yeah. But now I realize I need to get on there more because I'll get some message. There's only certain ways to get a hold of people. Yeah. But I've done.
Well, dude, you've been busy. I mean, every time I look up, you're getting a new award. You're speaking somewhere. You're,
all deserved though for the players.
Oh yeah.
So it's
so let's talk about it. So how long have you been in Shreveport?
I got here in January. I think my official start date was January 6th, 2020, the COVID year.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So,
did y'all even play that season?
Yeah, we had 26 games. Okay. The crazy thing is I was at Tennessee Wesleyan for 4 years prior to that. And I went to Southern Illinois University Division I that summer, took a job there.
The Salukis.
Yeah, and the good thing about it was my wife ended up getting a job there as well. Trainer with softball and volleyball. Well, when we were in Athens, Tennessee, we're 8 to 9 hours away from her family, with one kid, another one on the way. So when we moved there, we're now 45 minutes from where she grew up. Mm. So it was perfect, right? Mm-hmm. Well, then I get a call, I think it was middle of December, about this job because Brett LaValle had just left, and they kind of waited to announce that he was leaving to keep the roster together. And I remember kind of seeing that on Twitter, social media, he's out, okay, whatever. Didn't think anything of it. And I'm at a place where I have no intention to leave. Everything's going good. And then I get a call. I'm just sitting like this. It's the last day of winter break. Feet are up. It's just me and the head coach in there. And I get a call. I'm like, all right, why is he calling me? Hey, would you be interested in this job? And I laugh. I'm like, no, I just got here. I got no reason to leave. He's like, all right, well, the AD's going to call you. And he hung up on me. It's just one of my buddies. He's a scout with the Diamondbacks, very connected. And I was like, dude, you got to be kidding me. So I left. I go home. Winter break kicks in. 45 minutes, email. It's the AD. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Hey, can you talk today in about an hour? It's like, all right, whatever, I'll talk. Once again, I'm like, why am I even going to waste their time? Right when I pick up the phone and they call me, I'm like, you can tell it's a room like this. I'm like, there's 6 or 7 people in this room. Well, they had everybody. They were doing that part of their interview committee. And I'm like, this guy, you got to be kidding me. So it sounded all right. We go through it. And, at the end, he's like, all right, we're going to get back in touch. I want you to talk to your wife about flying out here. I was like, well, I haven't even talked about this period yet because it's been over 3 hours. And I agreed to fly down. I hadn't talked about wife yet. So, and she's really good about all that. So long story short,
have you ever heard of Shreveport?
Oh yeah, because when I got into NAI, I started at Campbellsville University back in 2011, I think it was. Well, 10-11. Spring of 11 was the first year. When you get into any level, obviously Division I's a little bit different, but when you get into a small college, if you follow baseball or you're part of college, you know the major names. And Shreveport obviously had a rich tradition. So when I got into it, I knew LSU Shreveport, Tennessee Wesleyan where I ended up, Cumberland University, LC State because that's out my way, and I've known for them for a while. So, but when you look at it and you're wanting to get into a place at any level, I mean, obviously if you're going to take a head job, you're not always fortunate to get a place like this to be your first one. And I was very fortunate with that. But when you envision jobs that you would like right now, there's no other job at this level I would ever even think about if I wanted to leave for. But it's one of the ones, if you're getting into it, that you would think about, if I had a list of 10 schools where those things connect with the vision of what I would want to do with the program, Shreveport would be one of them. I was fortunate to be here, and we've.
Have you heard of Mississippi College?
Oh, yeah.
Because that is where Josh played baseball.
Wait a minute. No longer, buddy. Mississippi Christian University.
That's right. They changed it.
They're changing it.
They're changing it.
But I will be honest with you in regards to that. When you look at Division II jobs from a location, about 2 years ago, we're driving to Destin, Florida, and my wife wants to get Chick-fil-A on the way. Well, the address took us on campus. And I'd already known of Mississippi College. And, when you saw that, they got rid of football, right?
Yes.
Which sucks, but you see those facilities right when you drive in. You're driving around. This is for a Division II. I don't know all of the resource pieces, but from facilities and location, they got a lot better last year. This is a place that could have some success. So I followed them quite a bit just because they're close and whatnot. Obviously, it's unfortunate they got rid of football, especially the facilities they have.
Yeah.
What was your experience like there?
I redshirted my first year. And I played my second year. I backed up a really solid shortstop, like power hitter combo, which, it's not the most common thing in the world. But so the only way I got on the field was when the third baseman would pitch relief. And so the coach didn't like the backup third baseman, so he would put me in at third. I never practiced at third.
Never practiced at third. Can bounce around a little bit.
So that was my experience. I was like, hey, man, just go play third. I'm like, I don't play third. He's like, no, you got it. And so
there you go. That
was my 1 year run, but it was fun.
We did the same thing.
So you go home and you tell your wife, hey, I've agreed to fly to Shreveport.
Yeah, she's kind of like, what? And the one thing about her, I mean, she's from a very small town where nobody really moves. I think the only 2 people that have moved are her and one of her other 2 sisters.
Wow.
It's a town in Missouri. She lives right on the Mississippi River. Well, where she lives, where Cape Girardeau is? It's where Southeast Missouri State is.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of right past where, Kentucky, Illinois, Missouri connect. I tell everybody she's basically in Cape Girardeau, but it's 30 minutes in the middle of nowhere out there's like 200 people in the entire town. But she's used to moving. She's lived in, New Mexico. She's lived in Kentucky, and she's really good with all that. Do I think she wanted to? She would never tell me if she didn't want to. So when I came down here in the interview, originally I was under the impression they were going to fly us both down. Well, came back. Hey, we got you a ticket to come down here. Well, what about my wife? Well, couldn't. Got down here. The first day I wanted nothing to do with it, but the issue was it was winter break. There's nobody around. We pull in at night. It's dark. I haven't seen the place. There's nobody in the parking lot. We're going to a basketball game, which I'm familiar with NAI basketball, and especially during winter break. There's one person in the stands. I'm like, what am I doing? And the other piece to it was I'm already tired because I had to drive 3.5 hours to Nashville to where they flew me out. 2 connecting flights. We get in there. It's already been a long day, and just the thought process of everything, quickly going on, and then my wife not being able to go. And the second day when they picked me up, I mean, it was like a 12 to 14 hour day, and it was great. Then I got to go home. And the thing was, when Lucas dropped me off, the AD at the airport, he's like, hey, if this is the indication of anything, I need you to talk to your wife, about, is this do you want to do this or not? And it needs to be quick. So that's basically telling you I'm going to offer you the job. And he did the next day, and I talked to her, and you're having to make a decision for the family once again without anybody else seeing it. And I'm a man of faith, so we prayed about it a ton, and it worked out. She's still, and here's the bad piece about it. The other piece, when you look at the flight, not having her go, I thought there was housing for both of us. Well, and my kid, when we came down here, it was housing for one. I thought when I said bye to him, I was driving down, I'll see you in a week. Well, it ended up being 3 months. The only good thing was, because of state rules, I didn't have insurance that kicked in right away. So it all worked out. She stayed for $20 a month. I popped on their insurance. Otherwise, we're down there with no insurance. So it actually worked out that she stayed up there. Her mom helped out a lot, but there's a lot of pieces that went together, and it's been the best move that we've made yet.
Cool.
Kids love it. And
she's a coach?
She's the head athletic trainer.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's used to athletics. I mean, she started her athletic training with baseball at University of Mexico. So,
So that kind of a combo deal? Like, hey.
Yeah, but, the last 2 places we've gone, when we was at, I met her at Campbellsville, where she started her, full-time when I was coaching there. That's where we met. She became a trainer there, and it happened to be that she was with baseball. When we went to Tennessee Wesleyan, that was a package deal. When we went to SIU, it took a month to get her hired, but luckily there was 2 jobs open. They did some interviews, and she ended up getting one. When we came here, there was no training job available. So I can't even tell you the name of it. She worked and she never taught in her life. She taught at a school here off Swan Lake, where kids come in on buses, and it's basically what they envision themselves doing. So she had a class where she taught athletic training. It's bad. I don't even remember the name of it. Is it Bipstal?
Bipstal.
Yes. Yeah. And honestly, hour-wise,
we've eaten there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Their culinary program's great.
Right.
Good
we have
meal.
Bipstal students come to our shop.
Yeah.
Really nice place.
Yeah.
Huge classroom. And the hours and everything actually worked way better with her doing that than it does here with athletic training, because you have weekends off. You're done by 2, no summers, no holidays. Here it's full time like mine.
Yeah.
But then after a couple months, training job opened up, and then, the head guy hired her, and then he ended up leaving to go see over all the schools, and they moved her, which she's more than deserving for it, moved her into the head job.
Cool. That's awesome.
So I'm curious. So LSUS is your first head coaching job
at this level.
Yeah.
So I had 2 years of a grueling head high school job when I was really young. You guys know who Wally Backman is?
Mm-hmm.
If I showed you some Wally is the one that was hired and fired the same day, I think, for the Diamondbacks as the manager. And they found DUIs and whatnot. Yeah. Played for the Mets the year they were really good. Grimy. He used to look up Playing for Peanuts, the documentary, the independent ball. You'll be on your rear end laughing all night long. Okay. So Wally, the reason I bring him up, I took over Aloha High School, which is 2 miles from where they didn't win a game the year before I got him. But it's also, it'd be like taking the top 5 teams at NAI and taking the worst team resource wise and throwing them in that. That's what we were. It's 1 mile from where I graduated high school, but it used to be insanely good. That's where Wally Backman went, and several other big names.
What town is this in?
Basically Beaverton, Oregon, which is right outside Portland. It's like they'll call it Portland, like on the address, but it's, or you call it Aloha, Oregon. So, Pat Casey's getting inducted to the Hall of Fame this year. College baseball's Oregon State's, head coach, and they won a few. His brother was the football coach. Yep. We got hired kind of at the same time, and they ended up winning which interfered a little bit with that. They became unbelievable at football, but we were able to get some of those athletes. And we went from 0 to 10 wins, and, a little bit different at that level. And then I managed some, college summer leagues, and then started some select teams back there. And that got me into being around the right people. So yeah, at this level, first.
Well, so let's go back even further. In high school, Was it just baseball, or what all were you doing in high school? What was the high school like?
So I went to probably at the time it was each year went back and forth between the number 1 and number 2 top enrollment in the state. It's called Westview High School. Extremely good. Carson Kelly, that was a big league catcher for the Cardinals. He still might be playing. Our shortstop ended up getting drafted in the first round. Trevor Curl played in the big leagues for a few years. It was a newer school at the time, in the right location, really good. So I played there. I started out so my dad was a high school basketball coach for years, always in the gym, but I can't run well. I could dribble and I could shoot. I wasn't tall enough. So, they tried to get me out, and, if I was open, I could shoot okay, but I was not a basketball player. All right. So I could really throw in football. However, my best friend, they moved in. He was 6'6". He was he was 3-time basketball player of the year in the state. He ends up getting out of it. I get out of it. So I just go to baseball. He sticks to basketball. I stick to baseball. We hang out every day. Well, the problem was my high school career in baseball. I got hurt my freshman year. I wasn't supposed to go there. They let me transfer because my dad was working there. Well, I'm trying to impress in early morning workouts the first time throwing bullpens, and I'm hooking sliders, blowing my elbow out. So I'm out my freshman year. Sophomore, junior year go well. Senior year, here I am. We got a chance to be good. I'm the number 1. I throw the first game of the year. Here goes my elbow again. Now, I never tore. It was each time was a 2 to 3 month severe sprain. So I think I pitched in 3 games my senior year, 1 game total my freshman year I got back for. And then the same thing happened to me with my shoulder in junior college. So I played 2 years in high school, a year and a half junior college. I've been unfortunate with the injuries, but I will tell you, if I didn't get injured in junior college, I wouldn't be sitting here with you guys right now, because it got me started in coaching so early. So I'm okay with how it goes.
But you grew up a pitcher.
Yeah. Pitcher, quarterback when I played football, basketball. I mean, you called me a shooting guard, but I wouldn't know guard. I wasn't big enough to be a forward. If I was open, ball, I'll shoot. That was it. But I was
Do you spend a lot of time with the pitchers now?
Good question. Always have every year. Pitching's always been my deal. And then the recruiting piece. I have wanted to, when you're a head coach, you don't want to have to be stuck to anything. You got to be able to oversee and manage things and whatnot. But it's hard to find somebody that you trust and you're comfortable with the pitchers. Well, I was fortunate to get that this last year with Jordan Schwellenbach, which is why we were going to Atlanta, because his brother Spencer Schwellenbach, that starting pitcher for the Braves, that we were going to watch, but got hurt and wasn't throwing. So Jordan, I've always noticed, we developed a relationship. They always come to the tournament that we run every year in February called the Cajun Collision when he hosted at Sterlington. Always been impressed with his staffs. Were always prepared. He managed them well. They were always really good. They always threw strikes. So hired him this last year. They made a move. He was at Central Methodist University for 8 years. They lost in the national title game in 2021. I knew when I got him, this is who we're going to go with. So we kind of piggyback it together, but he's with them, I would say 90% of the time. I'll go down for bullpens. And then in the games, I still remember this last fall, Jordan, you're calling the pitches. No, I don't want to call the pitches. So we worked it out. I still call the pitches. He had the scouting reports, all the information that actually worked out tremendously well. So, we kind of piggyback it together, but if you're going to label somebody, it's him, and he deserves all the credit because he's the one with them all the time.
Did the staff you have now, you brought all them? Well, I guess we should say, Brad's the head coach at LSUS. So I think we skipped all of that. I think historic season, right?
Historic
Absolutely. Season. Yeah,
absolutely.
Of undefeated, 59-0, 60. What was it?
59-0.
59-0, and that's crazy because we had Charles on here.
Charles, and
he had said, well, what's crazy is the year before they only lost 3 games or something like that.
Well, it was 2 in conference, and I think the year before we went. Well, we were like 34-2 at one point. I think we finished like 40-something and 10 or something.
So I'll get and I didn't follow it too closely until kind of, probably around the 50 game mark or somewhere around there. Now everybody's, now people are posting the live streams, and dude, I got nervous. I was like, dude, you can't lose. Like I watched the last 3 games on my phone in bed, and my wife's like, what are you watching? I'm like, LSUS baseball. She's like, they have baseball? Like, yeah. And I was like, but man, I was getting nervous. Like, man, they can't lose now.
Right.
Right. So the pressure was building.
That's gotta do a number on you.
I guess it would. in certain situations with certain people where we had such a unique group this year that if it was even like they didn't talk about it. And when I tell everybody that all the time, I'm not lying. Like they didn't want to talk about it because we had so many returners that were so locked in, not distracted, and had a tunnel vision on what they wanted to do. And that was get back to the World Series because it'd been, we are a pitch away and a run away from being 5 straight years. So in 23 and 24, in 23, we were 1 strike away. Down the middle, ball. It happens. Next guy chinks one in. We end up losing by 1. The year after that, we lost 2-1 this last year. Well, 2 years ago, I guess, the spring of 24. So, we had a lot of guys back from that, with a lot of experience, that's all they wanted to do. And I'm telling you what, it's hard to keep these kids anymore away from distractions. And we didn't have to worry about it this year. If we even had reminders or just addressed, hey, I know we're this right now. Let's, stay, continue to stay focused and all the things that we talk about. They look at you like, Coach, why are you talking to us about it? We're not worried. And they never talked about it. And I think that's why we were able to continue to just, put it behind us and keep getting better because they weren't thinking about it. All they were thinking about was, we had a saying this year, it's the most important day of the year for practice, or this is the most important game. And not like it's, a deciding this or that, but no, that's what our focus had to be that day. And I think that's what it is with everything in life. But those guys did a really good job of committing to that, trusting that. And we just kept getting better and better and better. And then as we just kept winning, I think they were like, hey, nobody should beat us. Let's just keep going. But it's so unique because baseball is a game where, look at the national title game. That was the worst 4 innings, not that we played, that we had anything go against us the entire year. Balls are falling in, 3 hits in the infield that were barely touched that we couldn't get to. They had 2 out, 2 strike, couple guys on. We've got ourselves back to a point where we're a pitch away from limiting any runs that inning, and they'll chink one in over the shortstop's head. And then finally we got a 0 on defense, and it just kind of fueled us the rest of the way. But that was one of those games where I looked at my assistant. I said, you got to be kidding me. We're 58-0 in a national title game. I know we got to be beat today and tomorrow for us not to win it. But I said, this is the game where it's going to happen right now. Look, everything's going the opposite direction. Yeah. Well, that flipped halfway through. And if you look at the score, most will think 13-7 is a blowout. Well, that was only half the game. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
So,
wow. So I'm curious. You got to LSUS, right? And so what's the work that you start right away, like to do what you've done? Because obviously you've been successful on your stops, and so there's a playbook, a program. Like what scripts run in your head when you get in?
Well, it was kind of a unique situation because obviously I'm brought in halfway through the year with a group of guys that stayed around after the head guy left that they had an entire fall with. So I had to be really careful with what I did right away. You can't come in and change everything. You're going to slowly put in some of your things. It's more so this is how we're trying to play in regards to, the speed that we want to play, just the intent that we want to play, gradually putting in who were, and the other thing was there were so many guys on that team that were seniors that just go let them play. They've been here for 3 or 4 years with the head guy. When COVID kicked in though, we got all those guys back that wanted to because they gave the year back. So we didn't know that until the last day of the year, right? Because the last game we played was the last day of the year. Even though to start the day, we're under impression with COVID, it was just going to be a 2-week, kind of a 2-week deal. And every hour it's not looking good. Or, they've said this now. So, you have a vision for what you want to do from a facility standpoint, but, that's going to take money. That's going to take time. That's going to take fundraising, everybody getting on the same page. So, over time, every year you're coming into a situation with a lot of success that didn't have a lot of postseason success since 2012, but they made it every year. So, what do we want it to look like on both sides of the ball? Well, I want to be big, fast, strong, and physical on the offensive side, but really athletic. So we got to go recruit to that on the pitching side. I know that we need 8 guys that can really go. We're going to have 15 plus in the fall, but we need 8 that can carry us throughout the year. Well, we need some power arms on both sides of the plate. And that took time. I was actually talking to Jordan about it yesterday. It took us 3 years to really get the pitching was the biggest. The pitching and the defense was the biggest deal that we had to get organized and restructured. And I think we've gotten that to a point, and I think that's what's put us in a position to have these deep runs. And then it was some facility stuff. COVID allowed us, we got a lot of budget money left over the next year, so we were able to finish some things with the outfield wall, new scoreboard, so things are starting to look better. And then, as we're starting to continue success, they're putting a little – and the other thing was it really helped, and this was a year before I got there, the money was set aside in the plans for a new locker room, new dugout. So that locker room and clubhouse went into a new, the dugout that opened up on the field. It had the coaches' offices in there. It had a couple, showers, laundry, that when you look at from a facility standpoint, that piece alone really helped us because, you're only as good as the resources you have and how you use those resources. So then it was, coaching staff. This is the first year I've had somebody in the office with me for the second summer in a row because there's guys that from a professional advancement standpoint, we're able to go get some, and that's fine. We're able to go get better jobs in regards to what they want to do. A couple went on as head coaches at different levels. We've had, I think 4 or 5 now that are head coaches that have, and it makes it tough from a stability standpoint as a coaching staff. But when you're in coaching, you always got to realize you're only as good as the coaches you got. And if those guys are as good or better than you, they're going to get a chance to advance on at some point as well. So it's just recruiting.
Is it hard not to take that personal? Like, do you know when you bring somebody in, be like, hey, you come in, you're going to be here 1 year and you'll get a head coaching job?
I don't know there's been guys that, obviously everything resets every year. That can include the coaching staff. You don't want to hire somebody with the intent that it's only for a year, but if that means you're going to get better that year and it's going to help, fuel your program going forward, then you're willing at times to take somebody for 1 year knowing that they're going to be looking to go get, like, look at Steve Jones, for instance. He came with us at winter break this year. He was the head coach at Texas A&M Texarkana for, I think, 9 years. Okay. Well, he came from New Mexico Highlands University Division II. Well, some things went south at Texarkana. I called him I think it was January or December. No longer there. Steve, known you for years. You've done really come over with us. This is all we've got. Coach, I might take you up on that offer. We bring him over, and that's a huge piece of why we did this, what we did this year, whether he came in late or not. It now allowed me to roam around, got him trained to what we wanted to do with the hitters. He's a great hitting guy. He took him over. Now we've got basically 3 head coaches on part of our staff this year. Well, Steve, he really wanted to be back. Financially, we're in a situation where our assistants, only 2 of us get paid well. All right. Well, it was close to getting him back, but the New Mexico Highlands called him again because their job opened back up and they bumped the money up for him. So he went back there as a head coach to where he's going to finish his career. Mm-hmm. That's, it was able, we got a great relationship. He was able to help us. We were able to help him. And that's what this is ultimately about in those relationships that you're in. So look at the Division I level. These guys are moving all over the place all the time. Baseball is one of those coaching professions where I think you probably see more activity with job movement than any other sport. Yeah. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Is there a kind of a respect among the coaches not to take players? Because I know you see that on the national scope, right? On the big scope, is a head player leaves, well, he's taking the recruits, or the starting quarterback's leaving to go to USC, or
not with somebody like Steve or anything like that. But I think what you're seeing now is the rules are diminishing. There's not as many anymore with the chair support and the NIL money and all these different rules that they've come up with. Our level, we don't deal with it as much. We might, if a kid happens, the eligibility is such a difference between our level and NCAA that, even with this new 5th rule they put in, all right, 5th year rule, where somebody, if they've graduated, like you get an extra, if you're in your 5-year window, you've got 4 years and played, all right, and at the Division II or NAI and you're graduated, you can go play a 5th year at Division I. Well, we only had a couple guys that were truly in their 5th year this year, but they were credit short, so they couldn't go do it. That'd be only the real way that a good NAI, I believe, is. And there was some NAI players that were eligible and that have gone on. They're going to go play a 5th year at Division I this year. We didn't have that, and it's just because, like, our shortstop, he's the best in the country. Jose Salinas, there's no better defensively at any level. And the guy didn't make an error with his glove in 2 years. It was all throw. He was National Gold Glove winner. We actually just got his trophy in yesterday. It weighs about 50 pounds. That's the second time he's received that in 3 years, once in JUCO and once here. That guy had 50 schools on him. Well, being an international, he came over, those ESL classes that he had to take his first semester to junior college. It's almost like that's what he had to do to get eligible to play, but it also prevented him from being eligible for 5th year. And with no work visa, he wasn't able to go play independent ball this year. So, he's going to come back, graduate, help us. We're going to work on a work visa and get him on. But my point with him is he was one of the only guys that we have that could potentially go on. But because of certain circumstances, he wasn't eligible. I think what you're going to see, and everybody's going to get used to it, is players are free game anymore every year at every level. Letters of intent, commitments, it doesn't mean anything. Now, I personally have integrity with it. But if somebody calls me and doesn't want to go somewhere and he fits us, I'm not going to shy away if it's done the right way with the other school that he was potentially committed to. I mean, that's the name of it. It's going to get worse and worse each year. It is.
So like somebody like Jose, he was in JUCO, you bring him to LSUS. What does that recruiting process look like?
Well, we either watch them in the fall or the issue is anymore. So fall is your big recruiting piece now. They've got all these events where junior college teams go and play. Like the big one for us, we'll go to the Mississippi Junior College one. We've gone to what they call the best of the Midwest. It's 24 to 40 teams at some point in Indiana. Played at Grand Park where they got all those turf fields. And, over the Midwest, 40 different teams might come and play junior college. So you're getting a chance on all these different fields to see all these kids. The Texas and New Mexico Junior College one is big for us. It'll be, I think, the middle of September. So we go to as many of those events as we can to what our budget allows us to. But the thing is anymore, there's so many ways to recruit without having to see him in person. Now, obviously, there's no better way than to watch someone in person. But there's so much software now and the transfer portal and all these things that's allowing people that even really aren't good at recruiting. Yeah. They can sit, if they've got the right resources, money, they can sit on a computer, see a name, look them up. All right, I want that guy and go call him and never saw him. When there's people that spend tons of money to travel all over and go watch these guys all fall. So that's basically how it is. Like there's a number of different ways. We don't start recruiting somebody until their sophomore fall of junior college.
Okay. So you're not recruiting any freshmen. You're JUCO.
Yeah. Now there might be a redshirt freshman that was there 2 years and he's going to leave and you got him for 3 years or whatever it may be. But we're starting like next month. Mm-hmm. We'll be out watching as much as we possibly can.
So we went to a restaurant. Me and my boys were in Dallas and this menu comes out and there's like 500 things on the menu, and it's just like overwhelming trying to pick.
Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah.
You went back. You told me you're never going to do it again.
I can't stay away. But then the question is like, man, it sounds like, there's just thousands of players that, and it's kind of like, you're feeling 25, 30. And so how do you even funnel that down knowing that, you're going to have to say no to some players or not pursue some players that would probably fit your team well? And
yeah, that's a good question. Patience is probably the biggest deal at our level. What I mean by that is everybody wants to go get the players. So you pretty much know if a guy's NAI only. So we have everybody in our team. We have several Division I transfers. We have guys that have signed, committed to play Division I. And that's the type of guys that we're going to go after. We got several Division I transfers coming in this year. The thing with it is, though, you've got to be patient because every one of those kids, whether they're told or not, believe they're going to be eligible to go to Division I. Well, we'll be signing guys all the way up until 1 week into school if we have to where our deadline is to get them in. And what I mean by patience is we want to go get everybody that we can early on. But you don't want to it never ends. But we have 40 lockers in our locker room. So that's typically what we'll take. Now we've got a couple over this year because we lost so many. So we got 28 new guys coming in. You typically know though, whether a kid wants to talk to you or believe it or not, academically, coaches for the most part will know, hey, this guy's NAI only. What I mean by that is there's certain requirements that they're not going to meet to be Division I eligible. And I don't even bring up Division II, and nobody can take that the wrong way. I don't think there's no difference between NAI and Division II. I think it's top heavy. It's the bottom is the same, the middle is the same. There's some differences within certain things, but it's basically one big level, if you ask me, that just has, one's got the blue dot next to its name and one's a red and blue logo, and that's us. We have a running depth chart all the time. We always look at it. We move guys around. Obviously watching what you have currently in hand will tell you whether this guy's still we brought a guy in and, he might have started off like a house of fire, and we kind of figure out through the year he's not playing as much, but this guy's not he maybe it'll kick in next year, but right now we got to get better at that position. And that's ultimately what you're always trying to do. We're always recruiting. It never stops. That last spot, though, could take – I was freaked out all year. We didn't have a shortstop. We had 5 guys that could play shortstop this last year with one that played it every day. But we had 5 shortstops that were spread out all over the field. And that's probably why we were really good, because we were really athletic. But we couldn't get a shortstop to even think about coming to us. And then we got
so deep.
And then all of a sudden, in the middle of July, end of July, boom, here's 3 of them. And I feel good about it. So it always works itself out, but I always freak myself out. Holy smokes, we got a month till school and we need X, Y, and Z. They'll come out of nowhere. This roster was nothing in the middle of June, close to the end of it, and all of a sudden by the middle of July, it's like, all right, we could be done if we wanted to right now. They just come in like a house of fire.
Yeah, I would imagine when you're winning, the momentum's on your side.
Yes.
People are coming to you.
They'll at least entertain you a lot more while they think that they still can entertain a level in which they're not going to be able to go to.
Yeah.
Because ultimately everybody, Division I is all they want to do.
Yeah. And I would imagine Shreveport's not the shiniest object to dangle in front of some people.
Yeah.
And so,
but the deal is, though, when you look at small college athletics, especially the good ones at our level, outside the state schools, nobody's in big towns or cities. So, at least here you got an airport here, you got 200,000 people, you got access to be able to go some places. We're kind of centrally located in the United States, so it's easy for our guys to get places, in regards to home or whatnot. Good weather. They know they're going to be outside. You can call it good weather, but from a standpoint of temperature and whatnot, outside the rain, sometimes they're going to be outside on the field the majority of the time. When the first year I got here in December, it was 70. T-shirt and shorts.
Yeah.
And I just come from snow up in Illinois, where the last practice in the fall, where we got 10 layers on, and I come down here while it's snowing up there. My wife still is. I'm going, holy smokes! I'm in a T-shirt and a short for the first time in January on a baseball field.
Yeah, that's cool.
So a couple of questions about talent evaluation, because I feel like that's a big part of your job,
Yes.
right? So beyond the tools, how far do you weight the physical tools versus the sort of intangible mental toughness pieces? Like how do you evaluate somebody on the whole, right? What are you looking at?
Well, I think it's just your communication and your talk with them. There's things that I can't explain that we can feel on the phone when we're talking to them. Obviously, you try to talk to as many different coaches that have seen them play, their own coaches, even players that may know them. If you're watching video, you're seeing it in person, just certain things that, like, watching this guy play, can he adjust to the way that we're going to ask him to play, which is really fast, in your face. We're on and off the field. We fire the ball around after outs. There's no hot dog. There's no swag. We're just going to go out and play. Kind of a fast-paced, old-school style, right? You can kind of get a good read. Plus, you can research the background a little bit. Baseball is the most connected network, I believe, in athletics that you can call. I always tell my coaching staff, connect the dots. If we get a name, you can connect the dots, and you'll find somebody that that knows somebody that can get all the information on that kid, or get the phone number if you can't get it, or if you can't get a hold of the coach, you're going to be able to connect the dots. So it's becoming tougher and tougher because you don't see them as much in person. Now we do have video. It's more so feel from a phone call with other people that you're talking to. But I got to be honest with you, I want the information. You want to talk to the coach, the kid, but that's 50-50 of the info you're getting, because they ultimately want to see their kids go on, and especially good programs at whatever level they have to go through. So for me, if we're trying to increase our network, number one, we're calling every other coach that they've played, especially in league, because we want to see how they act when they're doing well, but especially when they're not doing well. And then that opens up the door with that coach for his players, then to the other coaches in the league that he knows, and names and numbers and all that. So it's very good. You're the second person that's asked me now that. I had another coach calling just, off one of my interviews and whatnot, that he was watching, asked me some questions, and he was a junior college coach. He asked me the same thing yesterday. And like I told him, the fit in recruiting anymore, you almost got to just, I don't want to say go with your gut, but you get the information you got. If you trust what you do as a program well enough, kids want direction. They want discipline. They want accountability. They might fight it for a while and see how far they can take it. I think everybody that you get, the main thing that, like, next week is the first team meeting, we're going to start breaking habits with these kids. And I think, especially in the places you've had success, kids came here because of that. All right. They're going to test the waters, and it might be a grueling 4 or 5 months with them. But I believe we can get them, who they are as a person, where they're supposed to be, so they can succeed in anything, which translates to us on the field. So it can be a grueling process. They can hate you at times. You got to know I always say this, it's not personal, but it's personal. It's not personal. We're not attacking you. We're not going to get personal with what we say, but it's personal because we want the best for you as a person. So that's a very complex question, because the recruiting piece has gotten so much different anymore. It's more so just conversations like this, and you got to go and if, look, there's a lot of things that these kids got to do to be able to get in school, get classes, training room paperwork in, housing done. Mm-hmm. And if they can't do any of that, you tell me you're going to do it when you get to school. Like, I will hound the what out of a kid, and ultimately have to tell me you got one chance. I don't care what you think. You're either going to do it today or out. If they do it, you can get them to do it in person here, and it's just breaking habits, man.
I remember at Tech, I did not play football, but I happened to be in a lot of classes with the football players, whatever that's worth. I think we were all looking for the easiest classes. But, we'd be in class, and then you would see like the coach come in the back and start taking roll with making sure all of his players were in class and doing all that. I'm like, man.
Well, I want to push on something else you just said. So prepare them for the rest of their life, what have you. I mean, maybe some going to become professionals, right? But ultimately, most do not. I mean, these are just the odds, right? So, what you're instilling in these young people, do you try to pack in terms of just general life skills going beyond the game of baseball? What's that like?
Well, you gotta, like, the one thing that, and I know you guys would understand this, maybe some don't. We're not just a college baseball team. It's a business. We operate with money. We operate with movement. We operate with structure. We operate with development. We operate with, a vision and success of what you want to do. So they're already a part of a business. And regardless of what they decide to do going forward, let's just take baseball out of the equation. It doesn't matter if they're working for themselves or whatnot. They're going to be a part of some sort of business with whatever they do. You get them introduced to it to where when they get outside of us, how they react and how they handle things, the preparation and the reps of what everything that we did, you got the classroom, you got how we act in the community, how we act on the field, how you're going to interact with people when we're on road trips, your professors showing up on time, being attentive in class, understanding that their time is just as important as yours. We hammer these guys and almost put them into a situation where that first week when they get here, they're failing at everything that they do, because I'm trying to get them to understand it's not rules, it's expectations, it's standards, just what we ask you to do. You're going to leave here. You might be in a position where you're asking somebody to do, or who you go work for is that you don't have a choice then. Like, they'll get rid of you a lot quicker than we will. Everything that we do is tied around something that's going to put them in a position to be successful with everything that they do. And ultimately, if we get to that point, the X's and O's and the baseball piece, that's going to show up. But like I explain to them all the time, if I can't get you to turn a piece of paper in, with whatever we need you to by the next day at 12 o'clock, that's a 1-minute piece of paper. How can I count on you to get a run and hit execute, or a drag bunt, or throw this pitch there, or be in this position on the field, or not leaving a base open, or doing, or executing our bunt defense correctly. So when you tie the athletic piece into what we're asking them to do, they pay attention a lot more. But we overload them when they get here, and we do it on purpose to make, when we get on the baseball field, everything, I think, becomes a little bit, not that it's not harder than what they've ever done, but a little bit easier to understand and get it accomplished, because we've already got the tough stuff out of the way. I mean, I set them up with stuff on that first team meeting. They've got to bring me back the next day. There's going to be 5 guys that forget to get at me at 12 o'clock. Well, they're breaking habits where they're not used to doing that. Doesn't mean that where they came from wasn't doing things right. They're doing it different. But for us, we've got to be able to count on you to do the things that we ask you to do, because ultimately that's the same thing when we get on the field, or in practice. So, it's just putting them, it's just the best version of themselves. Like, if I'm going to talk about standard number 1 in our program, it's about being the best version of yourself and, elevating everybody else around you. And that's, when you want to go back, this wasn't what the question is about. You want to go back to this last year. We did an unbelievable job of elevating everybody else around us. Nobody worried about who got the credit. Everybody was praising everybody else. And that's when I knew we had a real chance. But we had a real chance when they're done here, because they were invested in everybody else around them, because they were invested in themselves. But they didn't make it about themselves. And, that's the big thing. It's being the best version of yourself. And that's what we're working to do every day, and elevate everybody else around you.
So the extremely talented players, you said, they have that 5th year, they try to get to Division I. The players that don't take that option and they graduate through like an NAIA program, what's next for? I mean, is there any more baseball career for them? Or
we've had 60 guys now in our program history over. This will be year 36 that have played some form. Whether they were a draft, a free agent, or independent ball. We had a total of 10 guys. Maybe it's 11 now. I think it's 11 with Ziegler here. That are playing some form of professional baseball this year. Now, 95% of those guys are independent ball, which pays well. And then Draven Ziegler, that could have come back, but he just signed a free agent contract with the Pittsburgh Pirates, actually made his debut in high A or low A 2 days ago. Some get that opportunity. And that's basically half of the class that we lost. So that's, that's pretty. But that's what happens when you're a winning program that does what it does. Everybody wants winners. If you guys were to have to go hire somebody right now, you want winners of doing this right here, right?
Yeah.
They can do it the right way and get everybody else locked in. I want to listen to this podcast. So, we try to explain to them. It's a very low percentage. Some years we might have more. I think we've put ourselves in a position where we get a lot of attention from the next level. That doesn't mean it's going to happen, but at least you're in a position where you're going to have a little bit of a chance. And then next, it's, we have a couple guys coming back they had another semester of school to graduate. Those guys have asked to come back and help. So it's great. We got more help and they're going to graduate and we'll help them out a little bit. And then we've got guys going on to, start their lives in whatever job that might be. So, it's just, that's the main test, right?
Yeah.
What's next when you're done with us?
Yeah.
It's staggering. And I'm sure you can understand where I'm coming from on this. The guys that are playing for you, and, look, we were D3 when I played, right? So, but everybody on our team was always the best player on their team.
Yeah.
Like at every level was always the 100%. Best player. As you go up, as you rise up, right, and these players keep going and keep going and keep going. Does it sometimes just, I know it does me, just the level of respect for any professional is just unbelievable. Like you look at the NBA players and you're like, you talked about playing basketball and your dad was in basketball. Yeah. You wouldn't last like half a second with one of those guys, even the ones on the like the 10th spot on the bench, right? But the level of the professional athlete, and you're with these elite guys.
Yep.
The respect level for how talented and how, just God gifted these people are just blows me away.
Yeah. And then there's that piece where, guys think it's tough to last or do what they're supposed to do at the college level. Well, now you don't have a choice. Like, there's guys out there that were as talented or more talented than you that didn't make it for specific reasons, and you're fighting every day to keep your check and make your money and do what you got to do. And ultimately, a lot of those guys, first I think it'll be out for themselves to make sure that they're doing what they got to do to continue to keep getting paid. But then the team aspect kicks in, right? Well, when you look at the whole, though, they got to revert back to everything that they were trained upon wherever they played prior to that, because it is that much more demanding outside just the game. Taking care of your body now, how you eat, getting the right workouts in. You want to go to baseball, major league level, you're playing 162 games a year. So being able to, if they ask you to be on the field, you got to go perform. So your body's got to be at peak performance. There's so much more of a demand at that level that the training prior to that's got to kick in and understand why things, if somebody gets a chance, there's a level of preparation that's got to kick in. And the guys that make it have obviously been A, unbelievably gifted, but B, those are the guys that were able to execute everything that was asked upon them, wherever they were coming from. And now it's really kicking in, and now they understand it. So now they can go individually run it because they're on their own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's some element of luck into it, right?
No.
Injuries, how many of these guys you see them, you're like, man, this guy's going to make it to the big leagues, and then an injury. Right?
You could be the most well-trained person, period, but you can get injured just as well as anybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even more respect. You combine the combination of those things, right?
No doubt.
Even more respect for these guys.
Yeah.
Like, holy cow, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Kind of like Leighton in business, right?
Yeah. Question. So, I took my boys to the Rangers Yankees game a couple weeks ago, and man, I got them all you could eat tickets, so they could. I'm just trying to get them engaged, and even my son that loves baseball is just like second inning. He's like, "Hey, what are we doing here?" But then I turn on the Savannah Bananas, and there's glued to it, right? Yeah. It's like, and I saw you roll your eyes because it's like there's this camp of like some people love it, and then some people are like, "Oh, it's ruining baseball." What's your opinion?
I don't think it's ruining baseball. I think that it's obviously giving another piece of entertainment. And what they're doing it right, man. Yeah. Like it's ridiculous. I actually know at least half of that coaching staff, including Tyler Gillum, the head guy. Really? I've known him for years.
Really?
Extremely well. And a lot of those are ex, junior college or 4-year coaches that are coaching that thing. And for me, it's not for me, regardless, because they get paid unbelievably well. Everything that they get is, as you would expect. But for me, it's not that I'm not saying it's real baseball, but for me, I got to look at I wouldn't be able to do that. However, from an entertainment standpoint, for what people are looking for, they've got it right.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But I'm also the same. I got to watch a professional game, man. I can see why people would rather watch that because there's something going on, and that's kind of what they've developed here and mastered. Is they've taken baseball and taken it to a whole nother level that they can run with it for a long time because people, especially the young ones, they're in love with it because there's something going on that catches their eye, catches their attention, and draws them into it. So, you know, you got to have people there that want to be in entertainment to do that, though. Yeah. And their process of how they take players, the salaries that those guys start out at, I mean, with complete benefits and everything, like it'll only keep getting better. That guy that's created that thing, it's a
cool story.
From a college summer league to that, it's incredible.
Yeah, well, I remember in 2019 we went to Savannah, Georgia. You like Savannah, Georgia?
Yes, I do.
We went 2018, 2019. I saw banana stuff everywhere. Savannah banana. I'm like, what is? I would ask a local, what is this? They're like, oh yeah, it's our local. Like is it?
Coastal Plains. Coastal Plains.
Yeah, it's just a local team. I'm like, okay, like, but their stuff was everywhere, and that was like at the beginning of him really building that brand.
Yeah, and they were winning. I sat in the dugout. I called him up one time and I said, hey man, this is back in 2017, I think, this summer. Said, hey, there's a kid that's they were hosting the All-Star game for the Coastal Plains League. I said, hey, and only NAI can do this. I was allowed to be I could be on the field. I mean, we don't have rules contact wise. It was like, I need to come down. I need to access. He's like, come on, we'll get you. So he met me outside the stadium right before, they started BP or whatnot. He's like, I'll come out and meet you. Took me in the locker room. And then I got in the dugout. And then the kid he was actually at Delta State. I think when we went to Delta State, he was leaving MTSU. Long story short, I went in there and the kid didn't know. I talked to him on the phone, sat right next to him, and I was like, Tristan. He's like, yeah, Coach Neff, Tennessee Wesleyan. He goes, how'd you get in here? I said, you're why I'm here. So I've been there before, and that All-Star game was out of control because, I mean, you knew they were doing something right even when they were doing just like college league, the way they had it structured. It was quite impressive.
So last question for me. The game of baseball, which I grew up playing quite a bit, I loved it. The world's changed a lot recently, right? In the last 10 years, 15 years, the kids are different. What they're doing is different. My daughter's just like this, and you're just trying to fight all that.
Don't get me going.
So baseball really originated in a different time and place in the country, with different types of young people, different types of people. For you, what do you love about baseball? And I'm trying to ask that in the context of the world is changing. Things are different, but yet there's still kids that find their way, beyond the Savannah Bananas into the game.
Yeah.
And so for you, what do you love about the game and you believe is the magnet that endures today?
It is such a game. It requires so much skill, and it's not just skill. There's so many things that people don't see, that'll never be seen or even understood or looked at, that require just one specific play to be executed the right way, just from so many things that go on that when you really sit back and watch it and talk it out and look at it, you're like, oh my gosh, this all makes sense now. I'm an extremely anal attention to detail guy with a lot of stuff, and it just keeps getting worse. Positives and negative, right? Negative is positive. To me, it's the people. But to me, it's the overall word progression. And what I mean by that is the progression with the players, as people, and the players as players, trying to get that. Like, I'll explain them next weekend. There's 43 guys in here right now. This is just a good roster. You're not a team. That resets every year. We got to become a team. We got to become a team as quick as possible. And anybody holds us back from becoming a team, this is not for you. But becoming a team is the progression of the person. And, from us on the field, them, who they are as a person, I'm really big on just progression of everything, period, of what I'm doing, what we're doing with a team. And that's what I love, is just you get to see baseball, the progression of everything come together in so many different ways, whether it's from off the field to on the field in front of your face over 7 to 9 innings. Practice is my thing. I love practice. It can be ugly at times, but you can see a lot of progression really taking place. So for me, it's just the overall, you can call it development, but it's the progression of the person, the roster becoming a team, and just the progression of everything coming together. And you want to see it come together at the right time.
Yeah. Speaking on the progression, one of the things you are rolling out is this kind of coaching training for younger people, right? And so I have my son who plays, and so it piqued my interest. But you are holding these for the fall for 8 weeks. You are holding these sessions on Mondays and Wednesdays, I think, where they can come, and these 7-year-old through 12-year-olds are coming out and getting to practice with your players and your coaches.
Yeah, and
it's really cool.
There's multiple reasons why we did it, but I think one of the biggest deals was if you would have seen our dugout from the middle of the year to the end, and obviously a lot had to do with my kid and all his but I mean, our dugout had kids in it all the time. After games, it was, go watch us dogpile in the regional. There's 15 kids that are running out that think the world of our guys, and our guys thought the same as them. They did an unbelievable job with it, but it also puts them in an environment where, how important they are to people and how important they are for our program. And it's part of who we are. But with what we're doing those 2 days a week, number one, I want to put our guys in a position where they got to see a little bit of what it's like from a coaching standpoint, where now we'll give them what to do and they just got to go do it. Like, you're going to be working, like, you're going to have to get the attention of these kids. You're going to, and the thing is, these kids are going to come out. They'll pay attention to our players a lot more than they will us. As anybody, like, I understand. My kid does. Like, last night, my kid was in with a couple of our players and came out. And we were running our 8U practice, and it was the most electric. And I think he can swing a little bit. Most electric BP I've ever seen him take. Well, he listened to whoever it was in the cage a lot more than me, and I'm telling you what, it was unbelievable. And if that's what it's going to take, then that's great. Yeah. But I want to put our guys in a situation where we can continue to enhance our program within the community, because I think we did that this year. Something that our community can be involved with, and there's no better time now with what we just did. But I will tell you that part of us being fueled and push through what we did late in the season, continue to keep getting better, was the amount of fans and support and community that kept coming out, and a lot of it's those kids. So, we got 20 signed up right now. We still got about, 3.5 weeks to go. We'll get more.
Yeah.
It'll grow each year, but I want to have our guys in a situation where they've got to go coach a little bit now and, help these kids.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah,
I like it. It's something we need. We like to talk about food on the podcast.
Yeah.
And you grew up in the Pacific Northwest, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the food's a little different here, might be a little spicier. Since you've lived here, is there anywhere that is like your favorite meal to go to that you just really, or a restaurant you like to go to?
Well, right now I can name a lot of them, because I did my famous, I'll be in, by the spring, I'll be in pretty good shape for me. And then I don't even step on the scale because I gain so much. Okay. Most don't eat during the spring.
Gotcha.
I eat because I'm going home. I don't want to cook. And so I just grab this and grab that. So I've been on a diet for about a month and slowly dropping it. So everything sounds great to me right now. But there's a lot of, what's crazy is like Bergeron's across the street.
Oh, yeah.
Had not gone to it until this last year, and everybody talked about it. I love going there at lunch sometimes. Liked Maryland's place a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Even
place massive po' boys at Maryland's place.
I love, I'm more of a, I like going to Torchy's. We don't have that back there. Smalls. I love Smalls because I'm a burger and a fry guy.
Yeah.
Johnny's Pizza. I've obviously ate way too much of that.
You're a fan of Johnny's? Okay.
I am, but not as much anymore because we've ate it. I mean, we get a really good deal with them. So our guys, we can get them a large pizza, for a meal, every single one of them. And, so we end up getting it. But if there was one specific place, gosh, there's a lot. I don't.
You don't know?
No. Well, there's just
a lot of options.
Yeah. Blind Tiger. I really like that place.
Cool.
But
we love it.
So you're an outsider from Shreveport-Bossier, right? But you're here, and it will go down in infamy in Shreveport-Bossier lore.
Yeah.
Yes.
We like to, because look, we think about leaders, business leaders in the community, people like yourself, and one of the questions that we have is, if you could change something about this place, it's not necessarily being critical or negative. It's just, from your background and where you've come from, what about this place, if you had the magic wand, would you like to see?
What is answering? Well, say I want the roads fixed. They're
a good one.
It's I've never seen anything like it in my life. No, I'm gonna be. It's honestly embarrassing.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I know that requires money and whatnot, but if I could answer it any way, I know there's all sorts of other ways I can answer. The roads are the most hysterical thing I've ever seen. Like, I can't handle it.
And sometimes you don't know until you go somewhere else. You're like, oh, We're
I'm
in
just-
Texas. We're in Texas.
You know, he says this, I'm like, what are you talking about, man? Our roads are fine.
No, they're not.
It's now obviously, so I live in South Bossier. I don't live too far down the way, but obviously going back and forth, I mean, you get it. Some of those freeways,
yeah.
I'm surprised there's not more
yeah.
wrecks. But other than that, it maybe what we did helped it, but there's just, you know, I think I've talked about this a few times this summer. Every major city is tied in with athletics somewhere. And that's one thing I would like to see as a whole is how do we promote it? How do we get it more active? You know, I know people just like myself, when I'm done at the day, I want to go home and just like my hobby is sitting there and just relaxing, right? I don't like traveling too much as you have seen, but, you know, maybe we help that. Obviously, there's no, you know, you got the mud bugs.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I mean, you got the Independence Bowl is, you know, I mean, I'd like to see somehow, is there a way to be, but then that's going to require, you know, other things to kick in that maybe can't.
Yeah.
But, you know, they're building YMCA fields now. They got like at least, you know, there is some activity here with, you know, some outsiders coming. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, I would definitely think that, you know, after last season, your fan base is definitely going to be strong going into next season. So,
This is, generally speaking, this is a pretty good market for baseball. I mean, I
agree.
I think Bossier is an excellent place to grow up if you love baseball.
I agree with you. There's a lot of good players have come out of here.
Yeah. So how about something you're excited about?
In regards to what?
Well, just personally or professionally, like just anything for you, like what's got you pumped up right now?
There's a couple things. My parents decided that, you know, they just, for the first time ever left Oregon, they built a house and moved out here. So that's good, you know.
Nice.
Cool. You know, from a support and then being out here, just, you know, with our family, being around the grandkids and whatnot. So that's been good.
I'm imagining with 100-degree weather, they're like, what are we?
Oh, those are some things that, you know,
and the roads. What are we? You didn't tell us about this.
Oh, they talk about those two all the time. You know,
That's what old people do, right? Weather and roads.
Big move for them. You know, had lived in Oregon their entire lives. But, you know, I'm happy for them. They were able to do it. Aside from my brother, he just, you know, he was a head coach at this level, and then he just took the pitching coach job at Western Kentucky University.
Nice.
So I'm excited. You know, obviously a lot to do with sports, but, you know, I'm to be honest with you, it's at that age right now where every month my kids look dramatically different. So I'm excited just to, you know, now it's the point, not where you're not involved with them prior to, but now there's more things you get involved with them that they're starting to understand and they're big enough to do. And then obviously the start of, you know, we got a brand new team coming in next week with a lot of new faces. Just excited to get around them and just the whole year in general. I love the fall.
Yeah.
Whether it's fall baseball, the fall weather, especially here. I like it because you get a little bit of, you know, it's like all the weather combined into one.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, man. And I'm a big fall guy. So, I mean, I think there's a lot of things to be excited about.
Nice. Cool. Great answer.
Our company sponsor our podcast, so we got to give a shout out to our sponsors. You ready?
Table read.
All right. Priority Roofing, locally owned family and business, family ran business specializing in residential commercial roofing, repairs, replacements. Great team. 318-202-2123. We have Plumber for Hire, a locally owned plumbing company specializing in residential commercial plumbing. They take small jobs, big jobs. They get the jobs quick, and they can help you out. Great team. 318-709-9090. And then our buddy Clint Davis, counseling, has a great organization in town with 3 offices, really making an impact. They are helping people make lasting internal change for external growth and success. 318-562-6903.
Ivy's Building Materials, 3 locations, Mansfield, Halton, and Blanchard. Locally owned home center since 1969. You want to build a house, we can help. You want to paint a wall, we can help. You want to plumb a toilet, we can help. Look us up, ivylumber.com. And great stuff.
Hey, what about some, you haven't budgeted some NIL money?
You know, it's crazy. Our level just started. There's been a couple that have just started to gradually start bringing that in a little bit.
Really?
So it's funny.
That's cool. Yeah. Hey, let's do it. Plumbing.
That's right. We don't.
Roofing.
That's right. That's right. We'll talk off air. Yeah. All right. Hey, thank you so much for the
thanks,
time,
Brad.
man.
Man, I love having you in the community and what you're doing, and just great.
Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it.
Okay.